So today, we're going to be talking, and Aoife, you're welcome to join me up here.
Yeah, okay.
You're part of this talk too. We're going to be talking about some of the advancements we see happening right now in AI, specifically in regards to marketing and how we think that's going to affect how you grow your business. So I'm going to just shut this door here real quick. But while I'm doing that, do you want to talk about some of the things you see happening right now in this space?
I think one of the most fundamental aspects that everyone needs to understand is that you're not going to get replaced by AI. You're going to be replaced by someone who's learned how to leverage AI. Right? And that is such a fundamental point. Like I operate, not only I have a marketing agency and I have several other companies, but as I go out and talk to individuals, I'm like, that's how you need to view things. You need to become the person who's learning how to leverage AI to do things better, faster, and more efficiently, because otherwise you're simply going to get outranked and outperformed by someone who is leveraging AI. So I think that's one of the most important aspects. It doesn't matter what industry you're in, what niche you're in, where is there areas for optimization within what you're doing. And we were just talking there a second ago, and just to give you guys a gift to start with, there is a website called There Is an AI for That. Right, and every one of you should go on there. We just did it a few minutes ago, and go in there and search your industry or niche and see what AIs are coming out for your industry. How many did we find for your particular industry?
2,000.
So he could have gone and built them, but I was like, why would you build them if someone has already built them and they're open source? Right, so that's really, really important that you become educated.
What was the website?
There is an AI for that.
.com?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that
They've made it very simple, yeah.
that really is the fundamentals of how you can get in and really start to take advantage of AI. Is it's really just building out an SOP for whatever it is you do, and then just either automating that SOP by creating what we call a custom GPT, which is you can basically upload that into ChatGPT and it will do whatever instructions you gave it for you. Right? Or like she said, find someone who's already built a similar tool for a specific task. Right? Now, the other thing I see happening a lot is there's voice command on ChatGPT now, where you can not just have this personal custom GPT that's trained on a specific topic. For example, let's say it's doing your taxes, right? But if you press the voice command, you can ask it questions and have a conversation. It's essentially like having an expert in any field that you don't have to pay, and that is available 24/7, and that will remember everything you tell it. Yeah, you have a question?
Just out of curiosity, with the voice AI or ChatGPT, do you guys ever get interrupted?
Yeah.
Like, why are you like, slow down?
Yeah.
You're like, you're too smart.
Yeah, it's getting crazy now, especially with the new update they had where you can kind of like train the voice a little more specifically. It's getting really, honestly, crazy what you can do with it.
Like you can download, for any of you that have MacBooks, I don't know, download the app onto your device. And I have it on my device as an app, and then I just have it running in the background, and it's listening to all of my conversations, and then it's giving me summaries of the conversations. What are the advice that I gave? I'm not having to document anything. It's literally just like a listener on my laptop.
And you're doing that with...
Which app is that?
ChatGPT app. Yeah, they have an app for the actual that you can download onto your desktop, as opposed to going in via the browser. And the app has the voice. So it's a really good way. So that my team, I'll be on a Zoom with my team, and there'll be something that needs to be done, and I'll be like, oh, and then all of a sudden it's written and it's back to them in an email with a clear list of action steps, which was essentially a brain dump that I just dropped in, and it'll organize it, and then I email it to my team. It takes a couple of minutes.
Yeah,
So-
and so I think when we're looking at whatever you do, you know, looking at like, how can I automate it? How can I make this process more efficient? If it's not for you, for your employees, right? Like if you create a process for your employees, you know, a lot of times it's like they're gonna have questions about how it works or specific aspects of that. But if you can create a custom GPT that's trained on all the training materials you already have, when they have questions, they can just ask the chat bot instead of having to ask you. Right? So it makes your life more efficient. It makes them able to, if they're working on something at 3 a.m, they can get their question answered immediately. And it makes this process much more efficient for everyone involved, right?
So when it comes to when I'm working with my team, I ask them, no matter what I ask them to do, for them to ask themselves, how can I not do this? right? Not that it doesn't need to get done. It does need to get done, but how can they not do it? As in, how can they figure out ways to be able to leverage AI to help them in the process? And what that's doing is we had at the beginning of 2022, I had 28 people on my team. And right now we've downsized to 5 with the same productivity, right? So from 28 down to 5. So it's quite a substantial cost saving from a business perspective, but we've leveraged AI at every, so my name is Aoife, it's spelled AOIFE, and people joke it's like Aoife Intelligence, because I'm literally every layer and level of everything that we do has AI integrated into it. Because then the more revenue we generate, the more products we can create, the more we can do things more efficiently, the more that we can sell to our clients. We had a very good example there today about building mobile apps. And he said, well, how would you leverage AI for it? And I said, one, you can help AI to build a mobile app for you, but if I go out and I'm looking for a mobile app and I have developer A here and developer B there, developer A says to me, it's going to take me 8 weeks to do a proof of concept for you. And I'll send it back because he's not leveraging AI. Developer B goes, I'm going to give you 3 proofs of concept and I'll deliver them in 7 days. Who are you going to go with? Exactly. Right? And that is simply because one of them is leveraging AI and one of them is not. So that's what I really want you guys to start to wrap your head around is how can I start to leverage AI? And that's what Jaxon and I are going to really open up to doing today, starting to show you guys some of the tools that are out there that you can start to leverage, and then you can go on to there's an AI for that and pretty much find a tool for everything in your industry.
Yeah. By the way, when you're speaking, I think you got to get a little closer to be on the camera.
Oh, okay.
So, you know. But yeah, so we're going to show you a couple AI techs today. The first one I'm going to show you is how to completely automate your outbound sales, right? So who here likes to do outbound? No one, right? Especially me, trust me. And the last year, I would hire commission-based outbound people online, and I would pay them a commission. I would spend a couple days training them, and the average guy lasted like a week and a half. And so over the span of 6 months, I went through 90 people, and I was like, this is not working. I need to do something else, right? And so that's when I started looking at how can I make this process more efficient. Like we talked to earlier, the other one's filming, it's fine. I was like, how can we make this process more efficient? How can I take the steps, step by step, that they have to do and make this quicker? And that's when I started learning about how you could scrape and build data lists, and you could actually use technology that will send the messages for you and automate this whole process on literally every form of communication there is. There's automations like the one I'm going to show you here for Facebook. There's ones for Instagram. There's ones for LinkedIn. There's this thing called ringless voicemail where you can automate sending someone a voicemail without calling them. So it's essentially like cold calling a bunch of people at once. There's all these different tools. There's ones like Instantly for email. And from using these tools over the last 12 months or so, I've been able to send well over 1 million outreach messages. Right? So that's given me, I literally replaced the output of all 90 of those people in a month for $200. Like,
how do we get started? Let's go.
Yeah, exactly, right? Because it's like going from paying construction workers to use a shovel to having an excavator, right? So I'm going to show you an example of that in action. So I'm currently part of a new project. I partnered with this guy here in town. His name is Bill Walsh. And we launched something that we're calling the Vegas Podcast Mansion. So what we did is we bought a house over in Southern Highlands. We're turning each room into a different podcast studio. And then the way we promote this is by doing monthly mansion parties at the house, right? So one of the best ways to sell anything is sell to a group, sell to many. And so if you can have cool events that can bring a lot of those people in, then you have the ability to get people interested in whatever it is you do, right? So I need to invite people to this party. How am I going to do that? Well, I could do it manually one by one in my network, or I could use this tool right here. It's called Easy Messenger. By the way, at the end, if any of you want access to any of these tools, just come talk to me and grab my number, and I'll send you some links to them.
What's it called again?
It's called Easy Messenger. Yeah. And so if I want to invite Vegas entrepreneurs to my party on the 29th, where am I going to find them?
Social media.
Probably a Vegas Chamber of Commerce group or a Las Vegas networking group, something like that, right? So what I'm going to do is just come in the search tab. I'll make it a little bigger so you guys can see here. And I'm going to type in something like Las Vegas entrepreneurs, right? And when I type that in, if I go over here where it says groups, and I click on groups, I can filter by public groups, so these are ones that I have immediate access to. And look at all these different groups full of Las Vegas entrepreneurs, right? So let's say I want to invite people from Las Vegas small business. Well, I'm going to come in here, I'm going to click people, and what you'll see here in the corner, if I zoom out, is this little thing right here. This is a Chrome extension. And what this is going to do is allow me to scrape this Facebook group for leads. And I can both enter things I want to search for, if it'll let me scroll up here. So I could type in, like, if I wanted accountants or plumbers, and it'll scrape their bio for people that have that in their keywords. But there's also negative keywords. So if there's people I don't want at that party, then I can filter them out as well. And then when you're ready, all you got to do is press start. And as you'll see here, it's going to start scrubbing this Facebook page for all their profiles, right? And so over time, I could sit here and let it run for a while. It could scrape this whole group, right? How many members are there in this group? Probably like 6,000 or 7,000. What are we at? 9,000 people, right? Now, obviously, not all those people are going to be who I want to message. And there's ways you can filter them out outside of the keywords, right? But this is now building a very targeted list of my target market, right? Now, once that's done, I just hit the stop tab and then create, I think it's lists. Oh, no, here we go. See, so I just scraped 40, right? If I hit this little plus button right here, I can name this list. Like, you know, I just typically name it whatever the Facebook group is, right? Like Vegas small business, right? Now it's going to create that list of all those people. Now what I'm going to do is go back to this Chrome extension, which of course is logged out. What's my password on here? I think that's it.
And that's the
Yes, I remembered it. I was guessing on that password. Yeah. Yeah, and if any of you guys want access to this tech, just come talk to me after. I'll send you the info on it, on where to get it and stuff. But what you'll notice here is now it's saved under lists, if I saved it. So it'll populate these lists actually into your software on the back end, right? And then basically what you do here is you create a campaign, right? So I have this one for the mansion party. So it'll be like, and it creates what we call spin tags, which is a bunch of different versions of the same message. So we break it up into greeting, message, and call to action, right? So what that'll look like is, hey, first name, hello, first name, what's up, first name. So it's still very customized. It's pulling that from their profile. And then I'm basically inviting them to my party with 5 different versions of saying the same thing, with 5 different call to actions that all mean the same thing, right? That way, every message it sends is unique. It's not just copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, because that's what's going to flag these algorithms, right? And not only can I do that for the initial message, but I can do that for the follow-up messages as well. So now I can automate all my follow-up messages to make sure that they have a chance to come, right? Now, this is where it gets crazy. This is the technology I wish I had when I had started doing outbound that's now starting to become prevalent, which is now we can also create essentially AI appointment setters. So not only will it automate the first message, but it will have the full-on conversation with them when they have questions and answer after. So you can put stuff like frequently asked questions, any knowledge on your business, links to the party, whatever you want to put in here. And literally, now you don't need an appointment setter. Now you don't need an outbound sales team. This is inviting 50 people a day to my event. That's 1,500 people a month. The capacity of that event, at most, I would want in there is 100. Do you think I could get 100 out of 1,500 to be interested? Yeah, probably, right? And a lot of those other people, even if they can't make it, I can set up auto follow-up responses that invite them to my next event. Or what I've done is actually zap this into my CRM, so when I get replies, I can now track the status of all those people and go high level. So I can actually see where everyone's at and start to get data on, you know, how effective this strategy is, right? And so something like this, if you were to have a sales team, it would take them probably about 2 hours to do that, right? Of like focused work every day, right? And I've been able to automate that for a couple $100 a month, right? But where these tools get interesting is this is just an example with sales, right? Where this is also going to happen is with content, right? Where we're headed now is where you can start to train a lot of this data on your formulas for anything, for email, for content creation, etc. So I was mentioning earlier how you can create custom GPTs, right? And build them off of your SOPs. So let me show you an example that I did. So my background's initially in content. I got over 300 million views on the internet in 2 years. And so what I did is I took the formula I used from that, a lot of my viral scripts, and I trained a custom GPT on my viral videos, right? So the way I was able to get so many views is my strategy was simple. I would go onto YouTube, I would find some sort of documenting video on a business, and then I would just re-summarize it as a TikTok, 30 to 90 seconds. Hook, story, call to action, very formulaic. I could repeat that over and over again. And from that strategy, I knew about 10% of my content was going to go viral, 50% was going to flop, and the rest was going to get anywhere from like 10 to 100,000 views. So I did that for 2 years, put out almost 2,000 videos, and got hundreds of millions of views online from that strategy. So the part that was the hardest and took the longest was writing the scripts. So what I did is I came in here and I created what's called a custom GPT. So if we click right here, basically, has anyone not heard of a custom GPT or know what that is here? Yeah. So basically what a custom GPT is it's like ChatGPT, but trained for a specific purpose, right? So you'll see here, like Code Tutor is one. It's got a bunch of information about how to code, and it will tutor you, I'm assuming. I've never used it. But there's a bunch of different ones for different tags. You're almost like the App Store, but for ChatGPT, right? But the thing is, you can create your own. So if you click this, if you have the Pro version, it's $20, best investment you could ever do. You can click that Create button, and you can actually build your own, right? So you can give it instructions, you can train it on knowledge, you can do all of that and actually create your own GPT for a specific task. So that's what I did. I made a script writer GPT right here, right? So if we look on the back end, I'll show you how I created it. All I did was give it very basic instructions. I'm like, when I click Let's Get Started, ask me for context. Once I provided the video transcription, please use that in an SOP doc I referenced down below, and use those as an example to make a script. Like, that's not a very long prompt, right? And so from that, I just uploaded literally a document of like transcript, the video I wrote, transcript, the video I wrote, and I did that like 12 times. And so now, like, I'll write a TikTok right here, right? We're gonna go on YouTube. I'm gonna find a video I would wanna do a video on. So I'll give you an example. MSNBC does a lot of these like little mini docs. So I'll show you an example, right? I could come in here, 10-minute video. This is one of the ones I did, right? 10-minute video on, or this one's an hour long. We'll go with the 10-minute version.
I'm Mike Cesario. I'm 40 years old, and I'm the CEO.
Here, one sec. Let me go to the actual. So they'll have these, like, boom, right here. 7-minute video, little mini doc, right? And then what I can do is click this little transcription button right here. It's another Chrome extension. It'll automatically copy that whole transcript of that video. And when I go back to ChatGPT, I can be like, let's get started with a YouTube video. It's going to ask me for the transcription in any context. So I could be like, it's about a guy that built a $200 million a year restaurant. Right? And then it's going to ask me for the transcript. So all I have to do is paste that transcript in there that I just scrubbed, and it's going to write an entire TikTok for me in seconds. Hook, story, call to action, the exact formula I use to write my scripts, right? Now, is it going to be exactly how I want it? No, it might be 85% of the way there. But you know how much time that just saved me? Like 2 hours, right? And let's say it's half the way there, but there's things I want different. Then I say, write it more like this. Write it more like that. The quality of your answer is going to come from how specific you are in your prompt. The more specific you are, the better it will perform, right? But the whole idea here is, imagine now with this technology, how many scripts I could write in a day. If it goes from taking me 2 hours to 20 minutes, I just 10x my output, which means I just 10x the performance and probability that I will have more videos that hit in the algorithm, right? So once we have stuff like this, then we can plug it into a tool like what Aoife's about to show you here. And this is where I think we're headed, which is using deep fakes to then take this script and then create the video for you without you having to do anything, right? You just have to train it on the proper data. So that being said, I'm going to invite Aoife back up. By the way, if any of you don't know who Aoife is, she's an AI expert. She's worked with a bunch of large companies to help them incorporate AI. She's an expert in all those workflows. And you have a question.
Does that not pose a pretty significant problem? You could use a deep fake to say and do anything.
And I'll let Aoife touch on that.
Yeah.
Of course it's a problem. It's gonna, and that's where I think, you know, I'm not big in the NFT space, but I would assume that this would create a need for the blockchain so you could verify ownership of a piece of technology. I have a prediction that we're gonna go into a social media platform where everything's gonna have to be verified on the blockchain, because if it's not, then how do you know it's you?
Because they didn't want to be replaced by AI, the SAG was abstracted.
And that is true. And we are getting into a point where we will eventually have a protocol where we will be, we will need to put IP on our own looks and how we look, which sounds absolutely crazy. But the way that this technology is going, and you see a lot of the deepfake technology out there right now. Well, let me see. Yeah, and you know, that sounds crazy, but it's not that crazy. What's the white one for? Oh, that's your charger.
Oh yeah, that's my charger.
Okay, let me just connect here. So I'm going to switch gears slightly. Why is that not loading?
Should connect in a second.
Okay.
I think, or it's not plugged in all the way. Make sure your display is set up.
How do you do that? You want to do that?
Yeah, you can start talking. I'll get it working.
Yeah, I'll just connect the Wi-Fi. It is changing very dramatically and very rapidly, and the regulation is so far behind the technology, right? That there's a lot of things happening out there that are almost unethical, but there's no control over it. Let me just go.
I think you have to your display settings. I think screen mirroring. We could probably just connect it this way if we need to. Built-in retina. Here we go. Boom. There we go.
Okay, good. So let me just.
Oh wait, I think it's a separate monitor, so you just got to drag it over. Or let me change it to the same.
For someone who's in the AI space, I'm not technical like that. When it comes to computer, I just come into the room, I'm like, fix it.
That's why they pay me the big bucks.
Yeah, exactly. This is not my skill set and forte. I've got we set up a whole new podcast studio in the house, and Jaxon doesn't know it yet, but I'm like, can you come over and set up the teleprompter and can you do all of these things? So a couple of things. One thing I just want to do here, first of all, I just want to connect to the Wi-Fi because I'm going to need the Wi-Fi.
Do you need my hotspot?
Yeah, I know I can do my own, but so how many of you in here? So what Jaxon showed you there is extremely valuable information with regard to the custom GPTs. How many of you have ever created a custom GPT? Okay, so really important, right? When it comes, and I'm going to show you some even more advanced technology, because the only challenge we have with OpenAI is it's in the name, right? Open means open, right? And it's how are you protecting your data? How are you protecting your IP? How are you making sure that that your data is not being compromised or being leaked out? And that's one of the biggest challenges that we see in organizations right now, right? Is that a lot of them don't have AI strategies, and let's see here.
Just click the top right.
Why is it not opening?
Click up there, I got you. You can just talk.
Okay, yeah, a lot of them don't have, but I'm still not connected to Wi-Fi. That's the
It's
problem.
connecting to your hotspot.
Oh, okay, perfect.
You're good now.
Thank you. So here, you can take that phone. So I'm going to show you, the first thing that we're going to actually show you, is a version. We're just going to watch this for a second, a video. Hopefully we have audio.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Tech Alley.
We have no audio, do we?
Right now,
it's crucial to understand just how fast the AI space is evolving. It's only going to come out of your computer. I think you have to change your audio settings at the top. Take a look at me, Jaxon. But here's the thing. I never recorded this video, and I've never spoken these words. This isn't me. This is an AI-powered avatar, a digital version of me that can help me produce massive amounts of content with zero effort. Imagine this. Every single one of you can create your own digital double, an AI-powered clone of yourself that allows you to scale your presence and your content like never before. And the best part? This digital version of you isn't limited by time, availability, or even language. Yes, I can even speak multiple languages. Let me show you. Aquí estoy hablando en español. ¿No es increíble que pueda hablar en español usando tecnología de inteligencia artificial sin tener que aprender el idioma? ¿No es increíble? Je parle ici en français. N'est-ce pas étonnant que je puisse parler en français? Je ne suis jamais allé en France, mais j'aimerais y aller. The possibilities are limitless. Whether you're looking to scale your business, amplify your brand, or engage with audiences in ways that weren't possible before, AI avatars give you the power to do it faster, easier, and more effectively than ever. So, what are you waiting for? Clone yourself at scale and take your content creation to a whole new level.
So that's just one example of it. So I have a platform, it's called SuperDo platform. And basically what it means is that you can take any piece of content and create a digital double of yourself, right? Like the challenge I have with, I'm the only one for someone who started a company that can't clone myself because the AI simply hasn't caught the Irish accent yet. We don't have enough data. So I think I sound a bit British.
In our digitized economy, artificial intelligence, or AI, is no longer a futuristic concept, but a strategic.
But sometimes I play that because it just blows people's mind. But basically, as Jaxon is talking about, what this technology is enabling you to do, you can take a 2-minute video of yourself, clone that visual at that point in time, and then be able to create massive amount of content at scale in multiple different languages, right? So, and just to give you the, I'll show you an example here of how easy this is if we want to go and create a new video project, right? So I'm going to create a new video project. I'm just going to put in a test. I can choose whether I want it to be horizontal or vertical. Then I can choose the avatar that I want to use, which visual I actually want to use. So you could have many visuals loaded up in there. You can have many visuals loaded up. Then I can choose to do, I can either have my own script like Jaxon just said where he had one written, or I can ask the AI to write me a script. So I could put why you need AI. I'm just going to put this here. It's smart enough to figure out what I'm trying to say. Why you need AI. I can go in here, I can check the age range of the type of person I want to go for. I can choose the target audience. I can choose the video duration of how long I want that video to be. So let's say if I wanted a 30-second video. And here's where we get a little bit more advanced than what you see in the other ones. We've built in all of the personas. So you can actually act as a particular type of person. So I'm going to say, okay, I want to be a content marketer. Who do I appreciate as a content marketer? Okay, I'll be Gary Vaynerchuk. Right in the style of Gary Vaynerchuk. Then we put in all of the marketing frameworks because I run a marketing agency as well. I realized that not everyone understood frameworks. So then we built in the frameworks that you could put in. I click on save that and then it goes and it generates the script. It takes a couple of seconds for it to write the script and then, go ahead.
What's the longest video?
Well, we have it 10 minutes at the moment, but we can put it to pretty much anything. But I like when people, we split it because then it kind of puts a little cut in the video. It makes it kind of look a little bit more authentic. So what you can see here, it's just written me a script. I can click on the name, but we realize it's not how the script reads, it's how the script sounds, right? Because it's video. So then you can come in here.
Listen up, entrepreneurs. Making your mark comes down to strategy, speed, and razor-sharp insights. But we're
So my avatar is not the best one. I have other, let me log into one of my clients' ones. It's going to make it look better for you because mine is not the best version. Let me go down here. Where's Bo? Here he is. So this is one of our clients. He's a big public adjusting company. And you can see here, every single one of these videos is an avatar on his content, pumping out content at scale. So when we're talking about where it's going, this is what you're up against, right? When it comes to creating content, if you look on Instagram now, do any of you see, is this AI generated content? You see that little button now where they want us to declare, and you can actually even get accounts shut down if they're not actually saying that it's AI generated content. But if we look at like someone like Jaxon, imagine Jaxon creates 3 or 4 super dupes of himself. He puts a team on, he uses a GPT to write the script. The GPT writes the script and then he's putting the script in here or he's having it written inside the platform. Jaxon can now do 50 videos a day and generate 50 videos, putting out 50 videos across TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. How do you compete with him?
Right.
You cannot.
And here's why, is the reason I was able to get so many views on the internet is because I look at these algorithms like a slot machine, right? If you went to the casino and the slot machine was free, how many times are you pulling that lever? As many times as you can. Now, how we determine what type of output that machine gives us is our probability. And most people are trying to figure out, how do I get my probability from like 1% to 10%? Versus I realized it's much easier to just 10x the amount of output you're doing with the same probability, right? But here's where this is going. Imagine if after AI posted this video, we then uploaded the retention graph and the analytics behind that video back into the AI and prompted it to learn on itself, optimizing for retention. And not only is it going to be able to do that with a video we give it, but a video every 5 minutes. Or what if we then also automated it to go on to 10 different channels, 10 different accounts? I could put out 10 different versions of the same video. So not only could I do 50 a day, I could do 500 a day, right? And even if that same video only has a 5% chance of hitting, let's say, well, if I post it 20 times, it's going to get a broad range of results with the exact same video, because a certain aspect of this is random. I had a video got 7.8 million views on my channel. I reposted it every couple weeks. Sometimes it get 5 million, sometimes it get 50,000. Sometimes it get 100,000, all over the board. Because the way these algorithms push out content is they start by showing it to a small group of people. If it performs well with them, they show it to a bigger group. If it performs well with them, a bigger group, and so on and so forth. And so there's a certain aspect of this where if you get a bad group, it's just not going to perform. It's kind of random. But instead of focusing on like, how do I get the algorithm to love me? Like, how do I get that percentage up? Focus on how can I pull that lever infinitely more times. And that's what this technology allows us to do. So.
Yeah, and because we are in an attention economy, right? And your phone and the landscape on your phone is the most important landscape. We're all looking at our phones all a day, scrolling through feeds. How many times are you appearing on someone's feed? They used to say it takes 7 times, now they're saying it takes 20 times for 20 touch points. But if you constantly, like let's say if every one of you saw me, every time you opened your Facebook, I was there, I was there, I was there, I was there, you are automatically going to assume that I have credibility because I'm so present on all of the different social media platforms, as long as the content that we're creating is good. So now you start to think about yourself, and we go back to what we talked about in the very beginning. You are not going to lose your position or your job from AI. You're going to lose it to someone who knows how to leverage AI. And that's the goal about being in this room, is that every one of you is learning. Go ahead.
I just have a question for both of you. So once you generate all these different videos and permutations, and it's about getting them out there, implementing it. So I've used tools like Hootsuite. Work, load things up, but still that's very time consuming.
And it's expensive.
So I'm just wondering about the integration between like a tool like this and some other tools, so that you can automate, you know, the implementation and the promotion as well as the creation.
Yeah, so, and Hootsuite is good, but you know, because we have big Hootsuite accounts, but as you go on the users, it gets really expensive. So tools that you can also use that are an alternative to Hootsuite, one is called repurpose.io, where repurpose.io will allow you to have one channel that you post on, and then you can set up integrations and workflows to post to all of the rest. So it'll go on my TikTok 15 minutes later, it'll go on my Facebook 15 minutes later, it'll go on my LinkedIn, and that costs, I think it's like $19 a month compared to the Hootsuite, which is mine, I don't know, my Hootsuite bill is in the hundreds of dollars. Exactly, and the more users that you have. So Hootsuite is a really good one for integrations. Not Hootsuite, but repurpose.io as an alternative, because Hootsuite, you got to go in, you got to write all the copy, you got to do it for every single one. I feel your pain.
If you're doing tweets, and it's all like different.
Yeah, so the idea behind it, now our one right now, because we do with SuperDupe, we do a lot of the creation for people. We are moving into a more do-it-yourself model, but right now with people just go in, they give us everything, and then the videos just magically appear fully edited, captioned, and B-rolled in their drive, right? Which people, so we're kind of slightly going for a little bit of a different market. But the integration into the social channels is coming to everyone. Another one that you can also look at for your video editing is Opus Pro. If you haven't already looked at that, Opus Pro is another one, and that has a direct integration into TikTok and into YouTube. So, yeah, it's getting so much better. It was a bit in the beginning, but as they've evolved, that's another one.
On that, like with a lot of this technology, we have an opportunity right now because it's still very early. Like a lot of this tech is like 80% there.
Yeah.
But it's one little tweak, and all of a sudden a week later, it's there.
Yeah.
Right? And that's on each step of the process. But my vision, especially now that we have this, you know, the Vegas podcast mansion, is to create a situation where you come in, you shoot that 2-minute green screen video to get the likeness of you. You go to a podcast, and then we have the AI writing and creating all your scripts. We have another AI editor going in and clipping up all your podcasts, creating 100 different versions of it. And then we have the AI scheduling the content for you as well. And before you even home, all your content is edited, created, and scheduled, and you have your next quarter content done in a single day. Right? That's where we're headed. The technology is like, it exists for each step of that process, but it's not all in one tool. It's like this tool is almost there, but what it's missing, this tool has. So where we're at right now is trying to stay on the forefront of this technology and figure out how can we blend all these tools and workflows together to completely automate the content creation process, and then teach AI how to reiterate on itself. Because the moment we can teach AI to learn, it has way more data and IQ and information than we could ever handle. And if we're tying our likeness into that, especially before it's really become like apparent in people's strategies, like there's a real opportunity there for, who knows, 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years, where we can really come and dominate the market space because we're competing against farmers that have shovels while we have a tractor. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
You know, and that's, it's like Henry Ford, you know, with the cars. Yeah. It's not about horses anymore. Everyone is moving to cars, and this is how we really need to think about. We are in an AI revolution, and it's not stopping. It's not slowing down, and I know there's ethical considerations across the board, and I understand that. I think we have to have a human-centric approach to AI. I'm very big on that when I speak to companies, is that, you know, we need to have a solid change management structure in there so that we're not, and where people do have their jobs automated, how can we, you know, if they get displaced, how can we put them into other areas of organizations? But if you don't know what's happening and you're not informed, then it's very, very difficult for you to be able to craft a strategy and to do some planning. So I want to talk, then I have one other one that I want to show you, which is another AI company that I'm very actively involved here in Vegas. Can you film that just so that they can see the screen? And this is called Ask ROI, and because every one of you turned up today, I'm going to give every one of you access so that you get a free account that you can actually come in and test out this software. We are in beta at the moment, so you know, you might hit into some defects. If you do, everyone can shout at Aoife. That's normally what happens. But this platform, I want you to imagine Google Drive, Zapier, ChatGPT, had a baby. And then we put in monday.com as well, right? So what we looked at when we were building this was how can we simplify organizational readiness or people's readiness. So basically, let me just make this a little bit bigger so you can see. We have intelligent routing, which means every single one of the LLMs are actually embedded in here. So you have ChatGPT, there's Claude is in here, but it'll intelligently route to the one that it thinks is going to give you the best answer. So you're not paying, I don't know how many of you have, I know my subscriptions this year were nearly $22,000, right, in different AI subscriptions, which is like a lot of subscriptions, because we're testing everything. And when you have a subscription to everything, that starts to add up, right? So we're like, okay, how can we centralize it and actually have it so that it's a single in one platform? But we built something a little bit different. We put in the idea of a workspace, which is a concept that we would have taken from things like Later and monday.com, where you can actually assign a workspace to your employees. We also built out the concept of knowledge bases. So we have a private LLM on top of our own open LLMs, where we actually can store the data so that we can protect companies' IP. So you can load up all of your data and actually turn off that it would ever go external to call out to any of the open language models, and just interrogate your own data with your own private LLM, because that was a big challenge that we were seeing, that people were worried about putting out their IP. We then went in and built a number of prompts, right, which are in here, and there are hundreds upon hundreds of pre-built already in here from everything that you could possibly imagine ever wanting to do when it's already built. We also then built out custom assistance, which is very similar to what you would have seen on the ChatGPT model. And then we have the idea of files and folders, private and shared, so you can organize all of your data. So I want you to imagine that you can have a single platform that can be put out with your different workspace. You can have employees who have different access levels, different permissions, have different access to folders, but at every layer and level, they have be able to use generative AI. So I'm going to give you a very specific use case that I'm using for at the moment, and we've just partnered with one of the biggest federal government contracting agencies here in the United States, because they've seen what we're doing. So I got into government contracting because I realized, okay, there's a lot of money in government contracting, and I want to see how we can get awarded some of these things. But when I got into government contracting, what I realized when I took down the solicitations and the RFPs, they were absolutely huge. These documents are 50, 60-page documents. So we were like, okay, how can we actually start to leverage the AI to help us to actually do some of these tasks? So I'm going to give you a real world use case right now. So let me just go here. I'm going to go in. This is my RFP analyzer. So I'm going to just pull up a RFP. This is one that I'm actually working on right now.
For anyone that doesn't know, that's a request for a proposal, right?
So yeah, so this is, the government have come and said that they want someone to come in and help them run a marketing campaign for this particular company. This document is a 56-page document, right, with a lot of information inside it. What this AI is doing is not pulling out everything in the document for me immediately. So it's telling me the proposal summary, the time, the date, the scope of work, who the target audience is, the key messages, and then because I built a knowledge base with my company's information, because it's protected IP, it then goes and looks at my company's past performance, everything that I've done, all of the case studies, proposals previous, and it compares it, and then it determines whether or not it believes that I should actually pursue this proposal. So I've taken something that would have taken a couple of days of people having to read through it to figure out whether they're a fit, and now we can do it in a couple of seconds. So basically that is one of the ways that we are doing it. We also have built out within here I can go and I can ask it, this is another one that we've built, which is a checklist creator. So I can say, okay, tell me everything that's needed in the proposal in order for me to be able to write the proposal. So again, I just come in here, load up the document, and now it's going to write me my checklist. That was the next thing, just one sec. the next thing that we needed, right? So now it's giving me everything that I need so I can share that with my team to make sure that we actually have everything done. Now, we also have a proposal writer, which will help me to write the proposal. And I want to show you, and this is like real world example because we're actually doing this. Here is one that I did yesterday. But prior to working with me, we had a 2-week lead time to get the proposal done. Now, I haven't finished the cover photo yet, but I want to show you this. This entire document, which is over 46 pages, took me a single day to write, which now means that I can go and for any government contracts that we're pitching, the best that people are able to offer me in the market right now is a 2-week lead time to do these proposals. I'm able to get it 80% in a single day and then send it to my bid writer and go to clean that up for me. What am I missing? So there is billions of dollars for government contracting, but most small business owners never approach it because it's so much work. So what we're doing now is we're really working towards how can we make this software available to people so that they can save time, energy, and money, which is everything that we want to do. So that's just another real world use case of some of the things that we're using with AI. And I give you the A to B example. So you imagine knowing that the government contracting, we've got to submit the proposals. They'll come back with the feedback. Every time I get feedback on the proposal, I'll learn. So you imagine Aoife is able to send 52 proposals a year. We're down to 1 a week at the moment. I'm pretty sure I'll get it down to 1 a day. 1 a week. So I do 52 proposals in a year. Even if I had a win rate of 10%, right? Let's say if I had a win rate, the average government contract we're pitching is between 250,000 and 2 million, right? So then it becomes a numbers game. Versus the other person who has a marketing agency who's able to do 2 a month. So my output is double theirs. I can do double the applications, get double the amount of data in comparison to somebody else, simply because I know how to leverage the AI. Mm-hmm. Right, so that's really, again, to hone in on the fact that all of these use cases, we can do a round table and ask people what their businesses are, but every single one of you need to get on what's happening in your industry with AI, because otherwise you're just going to be outranked.
And notice she said something very similar to what I showed with my script writing, which it was 80% there.
Yeah.
Right? So obviously it'll reach a point where it'll be better than me. It'll be past 100%. But it doesn't have to be perfect for you to be able to use it. If it could save you 80% of the time you're spending, what could that do for you with whatever it is you're doing, right? Literally anything. It's just about creating a step-by-step process of whatever it is you do, right? And then just automating anything that doesn't have to be done by you, right? And if you take that mentality, I'm promising you're going to at least double, but potentially 5 to 10x your output, but also your mental capacity, right? Because like she said, yes, maybe it's a 2-week run rate instead of 1 to build that contract, but you have to sit there and read through a 56-page document. How much mental energy is that using? And what's the opportunity cost of that mental energy if you could get it back and apply it to other stuff? How much stuff is there that you have to do right now that you do instead of stuff you want to do? And being able to have the mental energy to focus on what you want to do is where we breed innovation. And a lot of times our innovation is mucked and slowed down by obligations. And so if we can use AI to help remove that, even if it removes 80% of that, I mean, if you had someone on your back that was 200 pounds and you could remove 80% of that person off of you, how much faster are you going to run? Mm-hmm. And that's the whole thing we're challenging you here. Whatever it is you do, it doesn't have to be marketing. That's just our example. But just ask yourself, how can I take what I'm doing, create an SOP that's just a standard operating procedure, a step-by-step process of how to do that thing. The more specific, the better. And then you just tell AI to do it for you.
So another one that we did, which is an interesting use case, is we have sales teams. And then they were doing the calls, and obviously the calls are recorded. And then there's someone's job who's actually to listen to the calls if they don't close and why didn't it close. So we built an AI to analyze every single sales call immediately after the call was done, send the salesperson back a feedback report of the criteria, so whether they how their energy, whether they had their rapport, how they handled objections. And it sent them back a report, so they got instant feedback, which was, this was a good answer, but this would have been a better answer. And then it gave them another report, which when they didn't close, this is how we think the call should have went. And it writes the whole entire script. So then your sales team are being trained immediately to learn on the data from the calls, but there's no overhead from the business because everything is being done by AI. So that's just another use case. I think we had a question at the back. You had something you want to ask?
I was just curious about the last tool you were showing.
Superdupe?
Ask
ROI. Yeah.
I still don't know.
Yeah.
That's the accent.
Is it able to, if I upload written documents, can it scan written documents and turn that into like text and then work from there?
Yeah, so it reads, so you can create a knowledge base and we upload and it'll read all of the files and
Yeah.
it is.
Similar to like doing like a custom GPT.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But what it is what's called a private LLM, which means all your data is kept for you. Versus any data you put on Ask ROI, it could get leaked and sent to other people, right? So Ask ROI.
If you want to, because if you do this, you'll get access to the link for a free account. If you text ASK ROI to 26786, that's 26786, and we're texting Ask ASK ROI. And it'll send you a link, and then you'll be able to go in and create a free account. There's no, it's nothing. There's no, if you want to add users and different stuff, but there's enough on the free account for anyone to get started.
One big thing we're doing to promote that software, there's a conference called RiskOn 360 happening in November. If you text Vegas to that same number, you'll get 2 free tickets.
What's the
that
number
are 26786. Yeah. So we have a big conference coming up. It's going to be like 500,000 people at the Rio at the end of November. We're going to have like Robert Hershevek speaking there. Who else is speaking there?
Me.
Yeah, Aoife.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, I'll put it up here so that you can see.
Yeah.
And then you'll get.
But you can get you'll get a code Power Team if you type that in on the Eventbrite. You can get 2 free $500 tickets on us. So just put that in there, and you guys can come check that out.
Can you repeat that last part again?
Which part? What the conference is about?
Yeah, the part, the free stuff.
Yeah. So if you text number 26786, that's the number to text, and then type in the word Vegas. That'll send you that's the code word for the tickets. Ask ROI is the code word for the software. And then the last code I'll throw in there is, I mentioned you guys, I started the Vegas Podcast Mansion. We're doing a party on the 29th. If any of you guys would like to come out, text the word mansion, and that'll send you 2 free tickets for that party as well if you guys want to come out to that.
There's a few different ways to spell the word mansion. Which way?
MANSION.
I was thinking Joe Mansion from West Virginia.
Oh.
So everything, and then just to also show you how we're leveraging AI, like the 26786 number is one we use for everything. We have a software, it's called Mobex Pro, and then we just automate everything using keywords. So you just text a keyword, and you can opt in and out of lists, whatever you want, but there's a lot of value in instead of trying to gather everyone's email, and you know what I mean, we're just like, here, just opt in for this particular thing. Here's your gift. So free usage or free ticket, like he just said here, you can see this is the conference. We had Tucker Carlson, we had RFK, we had Ben Mala, we had John Story. We have a lot of people at this conference, and what Jaxon has just gifted there is a ticket for the general admission that you guys get to go in. So that's by texting Vegas to 26786. And then if you want access to the software to be able to create a free account, it's Ask ROI, ASKROI to 26786.
And then mansion if you want to come to the mansion party on the 29th.
Yeah, exactly.
October?
Yeah.
Can we get the website links?
It should send it back in that text thread.
Oh, no. For the other stuff you were doing, for the Super Messenger?
For that, I got to get the link from the guys. I don't know what it is, but you guys can just text me personally, and I'll send it to you. I just got to go get it from them.
Superdupe is also free.
No.
I didn't think so.
So if anyone would like to talk to me personally, just text that number. That's my number. That's a 3. I don't have the best handwriting.
Yeah, no.
Ask ROI free?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can create your free account.
All of those code words are for free stuff. So.
Yeah, exactly. So what that's going to do is going to give you be able to log into the platform. I'm going to be doing weekly webinars on Wednesday, teaching people how to actually leverage the platform and best utilize it. So anyone that signs up, I'll make sure that you all get added in to a text message to go out on Wednesday when I do that webinar. Because what we've realized is people don't know what they don't know, right? And it's easy for me to sit up here and be like, oh, you can do this and you can do this. And it's overwhelming for most people because nobody has actually sat down and explained it to you. So that's really where we want to sit down and actually go, how can we help business owners understand what they can do within their own businesses so that then they have a correct course of action, because how I leverage AI is going to be very different to how somebody else leverages AI.
Yeah.
But if no one sits down and tells you about those possibilities, you don't know.
Yeah, and that's where I think the biggest way, if you're kind of overwhelmed with a lot of this stuff, of knowing where to start, is just, and if you haven't done this already for your business, you should, is create an SOP, just a step-by-step process of everything you do in your business, and then you just go through that list, one step at a time, and ask yourself, how do I automate this with AI? And now start at the top and work your way down. By the time you're done with that process, you're going to be 5 to 15 times more efficient.
And I just want to show you, you think, okay, oh, I have to write an SOP. No, you don't. The only thing you have to do is stand here in front of your laptop on the app and talk about your SOP, about how we create marketing strategies. And then I'm going to ask it, now write me a detailed SOP of how I would execute on a marketing strategy for Tech Alley. And then I'm going to click on this, and guess what? It's going to go and do it for me.
Did it change the language?
Oh, that's from the, yeah. Let me get it to write it in English.
So wait, did it just translate it in real time?
Yeah.
So she said to do it in Welsh. She's sitting there talking to English, and notice it literally recorded it in Welsh.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Bingo.
And that's the other big thing, right? Anything you're stuck on with anything, just ask AI to create a step-by-step process on how to do that thing. And if you don't understand what it's saying, ask it to be more specific and provide pictures or videos of what you're dealing with, and you can do anything.
So the thought process of just having that app on your phone or on your laptop, you can just chat to this in the exact same way, and then it'll give you the answer, and then you copy and paste the answer out. Like, you know, I could just say here, like this is literally how I am on a daily basis. I'd be like, give me a good outline for my presentation for Tech Alley, where we're going to talk about AI with Jaxon Wright. And then I'm just going to put that in there. I'm going to click on enter. And it's still writing in a different language. But anyway, this is really taking it to another level. I'm pretty good about my experience where I talk about AI. So write.
Another way to write your prompts too, if you guys are struggling on how to ask the AI, is tell it what your objective is, right? So say what the AI is, what your objective is. So if you're trying to write a blog article, you say you're an expert copywriter. Your objective is to help me promote my marketing company, right? And then you say, ask me questions until you have all the information to insert what your desired result is. And then it will ask you for all the information it needs and then write a prompt for you. So you can turn the AI in on itself. And that's one way to become a very good prompt engineer very quickly, is just let the AI teach itself. Just it will tell you what it needs versus you trying to guess what it needs. So, cool. Do we have any questions on anything? Yeah.
So thank you so much. Actually, in my work, we spend like 80% of time writing proposals. For this year, we have written like 50 plus, and only 1, 2. And if we have the two like this, like helping us do maybe 60% or 80%, what would be like well. So I'm happy to learn more about it.
Absolutely, and I'm going to be doing at that conference, I'm actually going to be doing a Steve Jobs style demo. I have 30 minutes at the conference, and we will definitely connect after. But anyone who really wants to see where, because right now I'm just doing these little demos, but I'll be doing a 30-minute they're like, and my focus will be on government contracting, very much so, because guys, there's such a big opportunity there for, like, you know, for everything that you could possibly imagine. Like, I'll just show you here. This is a little bit of a cheat code. I wasn't going to share this with anyone, but I feel like you guys are a good group, so I'm going to give you just some insights. So this is called instantmarkets.com. So instantmarkets.com gives you every single opportunity that's available with the government right now where they're actually looking for people. So for example, I could go in here and I can search advertising, and then I can pull up and then I can go down here and search my date. I can say in the next 45 days, and I can find every open solicitation that's out there for the government right now and just start pulling these out and then putting them into the AI and having the AI write the RFPs.
Let's go.
Yes.
And it's crazy. Some of these contracts are big. Like, how big do these government contracts
The one
get?
that I just showed you yesterday, the one that I showed you that I wrote yesterday is $250,000.
$250,000.
I currently have $700,000 of open tenders out with the government, and I only started writing them in September.
Think about that. She did 52 a year, and they averaged $250,000.
Yeah.
Like, that's
I
millions of dollars.
couldn't even do it. I actually couldn't, and I'll probably end up in a situation where I'll actually win them, and then I'll have to go out and find people to actually, which is fine because you can do that.
Champagne problems.
But,
oh no, the government wants to give me too much money.
I saw one about 3 years ago for 11 million, and they were everything that was pretty not so difficult to.
For sure. See, the government cannot buy directly, you see. They cannot buy the service directly. They have to buy it from a small to medium business. So, and then like, there's a lot of hub zones in Vegas. So if you're not in a hub zone, if your business is not there, I suggest that you can get an office there, because that's a set aside. If you're a minority-owned business owner, there's another set aside.
If you're a woman-owned business, there's a lot of money. There's not that many women-owned
apparently,
businesses.
because I'm not a U.S. citizen. I'm not a woman.
I thought you were going to say you're not a woman.
I'm not a woman. Imagine, right? But then you have minority-owned businesses. You have veteran-owned businesses. You have disabled veteran-owned businesses. Say again?
You're referring to this platform?
So no, I'm saying within the government contracting. So they have buckets, right? They have the small to medium business bucket, which is here. And then they break set aside. So if you're a minority-owned business, certain allocation for you here. If you're a women business, if you're in a hub zone, if you're a veteran, if you're a disabled veteran, if you're a disabled veteran who's a woman, like there's all of these criteria. So everyone should, at a minimum, be trying to put in for government contracting. Go ahead.
Do you have the percentage of conversion for people who use your platform to the success of?
So I only started in September with writing it. So with writing the contracts, but we've partnered with the biggest federal government advisors. We've partnered with them now, and they have 4,000 clients. So we're going to do a very solid, right now I'm the proof of concept because I'm just putting it out, but because I know the minute that I win, the valuation of the company is going to explode, because then I've proven the model. So right now, but like I say, I've started writing them in September. Here we are in October, and I have 700,000 out in tenders, and we're at one a week right now. And then because of instant markets, like I don't know how many people are in here are like like there's one here for video content production, right? When you start to actually look at these things, these are not too far removed from what a lot of you are doing. Like, so basically they're just looking for someone to come in and do video footage for them, to do marketing for them, to run ads for them. Some of you, if any of you are in roofing, oh my God, there's so many roofing contracts. There's so many construction contracts. I'm thinking of starting a janitorial company because there's so many contracts in janitorial, right? We have one that's going out at the moment for one of my clients who's on the platform. It's to fix a roof on a jail up the country. It's a $3 million contract.
Yeah. You could build a business with one contract.
Well, absolutely. And then, because my vision is that I will prove the model, prove the concept, win the bids, and then I'm just going to create a whole series of companies, and then we're going to create teaming agreements with people where I can actually just become a broker for the work. That would be the vision, because we want to work smarter, not harder.
Subcontracting.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, just find people that are already experts at it.
Yeah.
My mind's blown.
Yeah, and that's where we're going, guys. Like, this is where we're going. So, you know, the idea of that having AIs that can help you, and then with the Ask ROI platform, as we move forward, we're going to build out autonomous assistants. So the assistants will talk to each other without the human. Yeah. So my bid analyzer will go and speak to my checklist creator, my checklist creator will go and speak to my writer, and then my writer will go and speak to my reviewer, and the whole conversation will happen, and then it'll come back to me via Slack saying that your bid is ready.
Yeah.
That's when they take over.
Yeah, exactly. You can see I get a bit of heat for the humanity aspect.
Execution, kill all the humans.
You know, but that's what I say when we go out into organizations, and Jaxon and I have a very similar model. It's a human-centric approach, guys. I'm not trying to take away, I'm trying to make people more efficient so that they can actually spend time doing more of what they enjoy doing, right? You know, I don't want to have to sit spending 14 days writing a proposal. I want to do one proposal a week, and then I want to go and kick back. I want to go out and enjoy myself, go to networking events, do this kind of stuff.
Yeah, or right now, while I'm here talking to you, my AI is cold prospecting.
Yeah, exactly.
So instead of having to spend 3 hours this morning send those 50 messages, I'm AI not just reaching out to people, but having the full conversation with them. And now imagine if I did that on 5 people on our team's accounts. That's 5 sales reps, and we don't have to do anything.
Are you saying that all those cold calls that people are getting are actually AIs?
Some of them
A lot
are.
of them, yeah.
That's technically illegal now.
Yeah, it is.
So you can't do it unless they've actually opted in and given you permission to contact them.
That's a bit.
But our phone has an AI that'll answer the phone and ask them what they want to combat.
Or what we did is I built an AI. One of the AIs I'm launching actually later today on our website is an AI concierge, right? So it's just trained on all my data. Someone's going to go to my website, watch the video, read the description, but they might still have questions about the party or about booking a time. Instead of having to call me, talk to Mia, my AI concierge. She'll talk to you at 3 in the morning, right? Which you guys can check that out. By the way, another place you guys can, if you want to get more information on the Podcast Mansion, just go to podcastmansion.com. I put a little video there. There's also a link where you can get tickets to that mansion party we're doing on the 29th. But I would also recommend checking it out like sometime later next week when I have that AI live, so you can test it out. But yeah, it's getting pretty crazy. You got no internet.
Let me see here.
I do have one question.
Yeah.
How do you ensure that AI's interactions with potential clients and customers sounds like you? You're not diluting your...
By training it on your data. So for example, with that tool I showed you right now with Messenger, before I launch the AI appointment setter that's answering all their questions, I do the first 50 conversations myself, so it has 50 examples of how it would answer these questions.
I see.
Right? Now I upload all that data, it knows everything that I need to know, because there's like an FAQ section. Instead of, it's not on there right now, but this is the website if you guys want to learn more.
Or reserve a free ticket.
What was that? Yeah, if you RSVP right there, it'll take you to Eventbrite, and you can get a free ticket. Just use the code POWERTEAM or text Mansion to 26786. You'll get it over there. But to give you an idea of what we're doing here, guys, so you know, I mentioned I sent over 1 million outbound messages last year. I got a lot of data. What I learned is as the AI has started to automate a lot of that outreach, you can't get away with direct call to actions. You need what we call a lead magnet, which is some sort of bait that gives people an interest to want to learn more about you, right? So I've tested a bunch of different lead magnets. There's the one that has converted better than absolutely anything else I've done is inviting people onto a podcast, right? If I wanted Aoife as a client and I reached out and I just tried to sell her immediately, that's like going up to a bar and asking a girl to be your girlfriend before you're taking her on a date, right? I'll get to your question in a second, but what happened was as I started to use a podcast and inviting people onto my podcast as a lead magnet, I figured out how to completely fundamentally change the success rate of every form of marketing you do.
And I just want to lean into that for an example, because it was Jaxon that actually, so I moved to Vegas in May, right? So I don't really know a whole lot of people here. I moved from LA, and before that I was in Ireland. So this is a new territory for me completely. And me and Jaxon were talking about it. He said, you know, you should launch a podcast and you can use the podcast for lead generation. So we run a LinkedIn marketing agencies and other business, we did outreach to invite people to be guests on my podcast. I ended up having someone who was the head of AI and cybersecurity policy on my podcast in Nevada. I had another guy who has a $2 billion P&L. All responded to my request for a podcast and came in and met me. And what Jaxon's saying, it's the most authentic lead magnet, right? Because then the person is coming in, you're spending time with them, you're getting to know them. I'm not trying to sell them anything. I'm trying to build a relationship with them. Mm-hmm. And that's what the podcast mansion is doing. People are like, oh, well, I don't want a podcast, it's not going to make any money. It's not about making money on the podcast. You can make money on podcasts if you do like 100 episodes and you get sponsored or whatever. But this is about building the relationship and offering value. Yeah, so saying, I'd love to meet and interview you. And because of that one connection, then that's helped me now get involved very much in the tech scene in Nevada because of one outreach that went out and invited someone on a podcast.
Yeah. And where do 90% of people get their clients? From networking and referrals, right? Yeah. And so if someone is to send you a referral for your business, that's an actual liability to their brand because if you can't deliver, that hurts them. But if they're sending a referral to invite someone onto a podcast and get free exposure for their business, that raises their status in the eyes of whoever they're referring. So they actually have an incentive to send you referrals. So what you do is you're going to shoot season 1 of your podcast. It's 10 episodes, right? You reach out to people. Those 2 people she got on, guess what? She got them on before she even launched her podcast. Yeah, true. So you don't need a single view. Even have a podcast. That's the hack here, is people will do it just for the ego boost, right? Oh, you want to talk about me and what I'm up to? You know, and the arbitrage is really going after people like that. People with a $2 billion P&L but has 72 followers on Instagram and 300 friends on Facebook. That's the arbitrage. It's not, you know, Ty Lopez or Gary or one of these big guys. It's the people behind the scenes you don't know that want to get recognition for all the hard work and accomplishments they've had. And then from there, imagine you did 10 episodes. You tell them I'm banking my first season, right? You do those 10 episodes, you have any sort of high ticket offer, you're going to generate anywhere from 5 to 20 grand in new business. We'll then take a percentage of those profits you've generated and pay that to someone to go chop up and distribute all your content for you. But you're only doing that after a podcast has already made you money versus most people relying on the content to make them money. I've gotten 300 million views. I'll tell you right now, it's not easy to convert attention into dollars. It's a different skill set than getting attention. And it's much easier to do that when you don't need it to happen. The reason why most people fail with content is they need it to generate them money and they stop doing it to focus on the things that pay their mortgage, right? That's why most podcasts fail. It's not because people don't enjoy it. It's because they're like, I got rent to pay. I got to keep my lights on, right? But if you focus on the referral base as the strategy, you win from day one. You don't even have to put out the episodes. Obviously, still put them out. That's going to help with your conversions. But if you focus on the referral pipeline that it builds first, and just being very specific about who you want as a client, well, guess what? Now you're going to start getting clients from that. But the conversations you're having, when you clip up that content and post it, these people share it. And if your call to actions at the end of the video, and they're sharing, like think about that $2 billion P&L. Who do you think the people are in that person's network? Right? They may get 300 views from that clip, but you know who those 300 views are? Other people like that person. And that's where the real hack is. From that alone, independently of content creation, you're now generating good profits, and you can build your infrastructure to now start releasing content at scale. If I put out a podcast and there's 10 different questions I ask, that's 10 different clips on Facebook, Snapchat, LinkedIn, every platform. That might be 500 pieces of content from a single conversation across all platforms if you did 10 episodes, right? And now imagine if you took the top 10% of those clips and ran it as your advertising. Now you're lowering your costs on your ads. You're only spending money on content that's already making you money. But you do that after you've already generated business from the referral pipeline you built, not having to go throw 20 grand at all of this and say, I hope it works. Because that's what most people do. They'll go rent out a podcast studio. It's charging them $1,000 a month for once a week, and then they're charging $2,500 a month if you want us to clip it. But then they're trying to rely on the clips to make the money, which yes, they will, but that might take 7 months. And if you're 6 months in and you're not profitable and you're already out 15 grand, you're going to quit. Versus if you use that as the next stage in the process of your marketing and start with the most fundamental way to get clients, which is talk to people with a lot of money that want your services by interviewing them, that's really the hack. And that referral pipeline will spread into every other strategy you do. And that's the whole vision behind the podcast mansion, is we're essentially like a country club meets a podcast studio. If you have a subscription with us, you get to come use the place, but we also do monthly mansion parties. We also throw events like the ones we're showing you over there that we give you guys free tickets to and access to. And the goal is really to cultivate business the way most of us do it, which is through the right relationships. And especially since I'm working with Bill Walsh from Power Team International, he does 300 live events a year. We've built a really high level Rolodex that we bring to these parties. The net worth of this party last time, it was our first party ever, 50 people there, the net worth of that room was over $1 billion. So as we bring these people together, you're able to connect with these high level entrepreneurs, but then we all grow the community together by running that play of using podcasts as a lead magnet. So that's the vision behind that. But even if you guys are just doing it on Zoom for a $9.99 subscription, start there. You'd be surprised how many people will take that interview. And just hit them up on LinkedIn, hit them up on Facebook, say, hey, I see that you do insert whatever it is you're looking for. I do a podcast about exactly that. Would love to interview you. And I get like a 60% response rate. It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely the easiest lead generation tool that I have found.
Wow.
It is the easiest one. But you know, we've put time and effort into building our socials as well, and like we go back to the videos and about building your personal brand, right? That's an investment. And I know it's an investment of time, but you know, that's not something anyone's going to take away from you. It doesn't have an expiry date, right? The more that you're able to go out and showcase your expertise and your skills and tell people why you are the best. Like we were talking about it earlier when we were talking about what I was going to do with the mobile apps. And I was like, well, I would recommend that you go review all of these mobile apps that the AI are generating, rate them and review them, and start creating content to putting it out there, talking to clients about how much faster you can use the AI, because now you don't just become a developer, you become a developer who's heavily leveraging AI at every aspect of the business, and he gets positioned as the expert authority in that industry or space. So every one of you have an opportunity. If you choose to spend some time learning about AI, you can claim that space, right? There's not a lot of people claiming it right now, not in comparison to how big the market is. Like the avatar adoption rate 6 months ago was 0.01%. I might as well be at the beginning of the World Wide Web in what we're trying to do with the avatar content. But every one of you has an opportunity to figure out what's happening in your space and then start talking to people about it.
Yeah.
And educating, yeah.
For Super Dude, how can you train it so that it incorporates like your personality? Because I think the talking head is one thing, but is there a way to make it so that it like captures more of your personality?
So the way the technology works, right, and we are exploring, because we have tech partners for the visual, and there's a couple of new ones coming onto the market, but the way the tech partner that we have currently works, it clones exactly your movements. So it literally takes a carbon copy of, and we had to do yours a couple of times because he raised his hand or something, and then his video was like, you know. So it literally, you know, it takes, because sometimes a couple of attempts, but your movements and your gestures. What we do within the copy engine, you can add characteristics and different, which will affect the tone and the style of the copy. But with regard to the actual movement, it's a direct clone, which is why sometimes when I say people's expectations are really unrealistic, like I have one client, it's the only person that I was ready to refund, and they were like, can you not change the facial expressions? I think that they're a bit boring. And I'm like, it's an exact clone of you. Like, you know, like, I can't help you here. You know what I mean? Maybe be more exciting as an, you know, but it's an exact double.
I think one way to do that is the copy that you give it.
The copy, yeah.
Right? So training it on your voice. Like, for example, I showed you the custom GPT I made. The way I was able to get it similar to my voice is I gave it 15 examples, right? So with AI, the key to getting good prompts is being specific and giving it a ton of data and a ton of examples. The more you give it, the better. But that's where I think more than anything with whatever you're doing is ask yourself, how can I create a positive feedback loop where every time I put a new input in, it learns from that input?
Yeah, because that's something that I'm doing now is I'm helping people develop their personal brand and brand voice, likeness, like these are huge things.
Yeah.
And I've done what you have done, which is uploaded all of my top performing posts into a document, the transcript, the caption, and I'll ask it to imitate my voice. It still isn't spot on, so what I've done is I've told it, don't reword anything, don't rephrase anything, use my exact words. So I'm just curious because when I'm filming content, I'm giggling and, there's a lot of my own personality. I'm not just reading straight from a script. So when
what I love about SuperDupe is you can adjust the tonality
of the voice.
Right? So it's about finicking with it and finding that right version. But with any AI, if it's not giving you the output, you're just either not being specific enough or not giving it enough data.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times to get a prompt right, it's just do it, get the outcome, give it adjustments, do it, get it the outcome, give the adjustments, and just go through that process for like 50 hours until you get it right.
Yeah.
Like that's what I did with a lot of my data scraping. I'd scrape, 25,000 person lists of Instagram profiles, but maybe only 2,000 of them are my target market. And it has like their bio, their email, their location, different information like that. And I have to go through and be like, what data can I give it to figure out who is actually my target market? And so what I do is I create these prompts that give me the lists, and then I'll go and manually scrub the list and be like, here's the actual list I wanted, find what's different between your prompt and this one, and update your prompt.
Yeah.
So a lot of this stuff can get complex, but this is where you just lean on the AI. Instead of you having to be an expert, you just ask the AI to make its own decisions or ask it to ask you questions on how to get a specific outcome. That's how you can get it to be more specific, because a lot of times we don't know what context to give it to understand what we want to do.
And if we look at like the trajectory, so I did my first avatar video on June 2022, right? And it was a talking head video where the mouth and the thing just moved, and everyone laughed at me and out of that, and I didn't know what I was talking about, and I was like, well, whatever. But so you imagine like in a year from now where that technology, today is the worst it's ever going to be. And that's the reality. It's the worst it's ever going to be is today. So if it's not, because that's what even Jaxon leaned into that earlier, sometimes we're like 80% there, 90, we're nearly there, but we are so much further ahead than everybody who didn't start.
Yeah.
And if you're leveraging the tools, you're ahead of everybody else.
And not just that, but it's going to hit that point. And if you're 80% there and then it hits that point, you're the first one that's 100% there.
Mm-hmm. Does it do hands?
The gestures and the movements, yeah. If
AI typically can't do hands.
Oh yeah, as long as if it's in the original video, it'll do it. Yeah, so, and that's where sometimes you can, like I have one roofing company and he was recording the video and he's got a bit of a belly and he was like, oh, my belly. And then when I did the avatar, we kept having to put B-roll over because it was in the middle of doing an ad for roofing and then it would go like this and I'd start rubbing his belly. So, there's humor in it sometimes, but so that's why right now we don't have the DIY open because we do it for people. Because I found that people find it very difficult to be able to do it themselves, and then we just do, and we create all the content and just send everything back.
Yeah.